Hey Mexicans, welcome back to this new video where today we're going to be looking at a multiple part series with the British country from my WICSO comes to the modern world. Now this is the British country like after decolonization. So they have a bunch of land over here. Let me just try to come on the province layer. So they have this, since this is the British country after decolonization, they have this little chunk of France, the entire British Isles, including Ireland, Iceland, Greenland, and Newfoundland. So this is what they look like. And since we're looking at nukes in this map, we're going to take a look at Britain's nuclear numbers at this point. Because I know nukes were invented in the WICSO series, but I never actually discussed them. So let's take a look at the numbers. Holy shit! The British have more fucking nukes than literally everyone on this map. So this is the reason why. So the British were alive a lot longer than these countries, and they became a pretty strong nuclear power and a pretty technological power. So they're stronger than literally everyone on this map. So yeah, they have 500 fucking nukes ready to deploy at any point. This most likely actually scares the powers. Oh, we're actually at the point where where the nukes have gone off already. So yeah. Things are gonna go a little bit different in this timeline though. Yes, the Cold War powers will still declare war on each other, that's just given. But for one, this defensive pact will go because France itself is not in existence. So they're gonna get partitioned, is what I'm gonna say. Let's take a look at the partitioning borders. So the borders will look something like this. Where the brown team gets this northern piece, the Romans get this piece, including that little square, and the remaining part goes to the Catalonians. Also, why does the capital square barely exist? Let me fix that. That is a lot better. But yeah, anyway, now the Romans and the Catalonians share a border. That's not good. We'll see what happens later on, but how so far the war starts between the cross team and the square team. The British will intervene in so many levels though. But for now, we see the Russians having the first push, as I'm pretty sure they did in the normal timeline. Yeah, I don't see the reason why this would be different. So they push into the nuclear areas of the old empire. So yeah, this is like pretty interesting. But what changes here is well, just the general balance of this war. As we'll soon see, someone decided to get meddled in. The British decided to meddle in. Wow. Honestly, I saw this coming, and the reason why I did see this coming is because the British are usually really, really into democracy. But which reminds me too, the British here, well, they just force these regions to join them because it's not like they have a choice. It's like survival against the fittest, and they already took the mainland of Greenland, so what's the point? So yeah, now the rest of Greenland is under British control, and they grow a little bit. Also, I gotta erase the new capital of the French. Yeah, sure, they had a new capital, but their whole entire country collapsed, so it doesn't really make sense to have them. But anyway, with the British involved, it's way more unlikely for any of the alliances to win, because the old empire has been strengthened a lot by the British involvement. Because the British troops are stronger than any of the troops in this entire war. So it's basically Jover for every single power. The Chinese have joined in at this point, but the old empire is gonna win. The British being involved was a tipping scale. But since the British decided to get involved, now there's a lot more opportunity for other countries to get involved. A lot more, too. Yeah, the Mediterranean country joins this war. Because at this point, it's an unfair matchup. So, British troops are mobilized and ready to go, and the Navy arrives in Africa. With Mediterranean forces also being mixed in. And once they're mixed in, it's really just the end for the Moroccan country. So the Cream Iberians will go ahead and take the advantage in this part. But that's pretty much it for them. As now the British and the British and the Mediterranean country work together to take this out, pretty much. Though the British country doesn't want any land in Africa. This is the Mediterranean countries want. They just want the African Union to be together, even if it's under their control instead of the Moroccans. They have that rivalry after the whole independence thing. And after they lose the capital, a lot of the Moroccans are just, yeah, at this point we should just, no, we're done. We're done. There's no shot. And with that, we have that over with. So now that we have the Moroccans over with, now we have troops being sent down to this country. And at this point, it's like, why even bother fighting? Like, once Morocco's done, you're done too. There's no shot you're gonna be doing any of this. And so they take the capital. Once that's over with, we just see this area completely falling. And I mean falling. It's really not a good day for this country. And so, yeah, they're done. All these parts will fall over to them too. All these parts should have already fell to them. And so, yeah. Now they're going to be sending troops to deal with the Russian front line. So, first stop automatically. Yeah, that's honestly a fair assessment. That would not last long. But then a combined British and Norwegian force invade the Russians from Estonia. They also actually go ahead and invade navally into the puppet states. The North German one is taken out pretty easily. And the South German one is also taken out pretty easily. These lines over here pretty much disappear, as the British have dealt with these puppet states. They're basically under British control. And so, yeah, now we see them pushing even deeper. With the capture of connection with Baltics. And so, they push in, and they take over lands that Poland used to own. They take every single place they can, making sure they can get to the capital easily. With Old Empire troops over here, pushing in on their own turf too. From their own turf too. They're not the ones capturing the capital, though. The British are pretty much doing that for them. But they push in from the south, and... oh, yeah. The capital is captured. And before the Russians could even respond with a nuclear attack, all of their bases were, like, blown up. Not by nuclear bombs. They're by regular bombs. So, yeah, these numbers are completely gone for good. So, we can just get rid of those. The Russians, like, surrender. They surrender. Just to the British, though. Which also means that the Siberians were never able to really reclaim their land. Like, so the Siberians are not going to get anything out of this peace treaty. Unfortunately. But this part, these countries eventually fold over to Britain too. And it's like, now the cross team's completely out of base. Well, except for here. But I mean, well, eventually you're just going to see it go over to the square team and the circle team. Give me a second to draw that. Yeah, this looks right to me. This looks about right. Now we go over to the circle team. And it is at this point that there is no hope for anyone in this war. As the British pretty much take care of these people. The Xinjiang country, the Tibetan country, yeah, they're done. The Chinese country's done. And then eventually South Vietnam will get involved. Hold up. Yeah, so South Vietnam will get involved to clean up the scraps. Smaller square, but, you know. Yeah. So they get involved to clean up the scraps, and South China will be going over to Vietnam. Only took them, like, what, a long time. So, yeah. That is not the right color. Okay, better. And, you know, with China itself falling, there's no doubt that the Philippines would kind of fall too. And, of course, now it's all over. Everything's over. Now we will take a look at a peace treaty. So in this peace treaty, which is moderated by the British, yeah, not the old empire, it was the British that moderated this. But yeah, in the peace treaty, we see well, one, America gains a bunch of like northern Texas pretty much, while Mexico gains like the Mexican parts of Texas for the most part. And then nothing else changed over here, so we're gonna now go over to Europe, where well, one, the Dark Cyan team gained a bit of West African land, as West Africa itself is gobbled up by the Mediterranean country, restarting what is essentially the African Union, except it is more consolidated around the Mediterranean country instead of the Moroccan one. And it's not dual capital this time, it's just the Mediterranean country. So yeah, and then we go over here to the east of Europe, where Poland gets its independence, and with a lot more land than it does. So you see, Poland like gained a lot more eastern land, but lost a lot of southern land to the Farmers Union. This is because the Farmers Union wanted to gain land. So they gained a lot of southern Russia, and along with that, they gained a lot of like the eastern like Ukrainian area. And so they did that, and well, Russia has significantly less land than it would modernly. Then we have the North and South German states. They're released as independent countries because the Dutch Empire has never gotten involved. They didn't. It was too short of a war, and it was a square team victory, so the Dutch couldn't get involved. And the red team gains a lot more than their modern land. They gain a lot of like the Prussian area. That's just to prevent Russia from retaking it. What that also means though is that the historical capital of Poland will not really go to them. So it's a small price to pay. So Poland's just happy they're independent. They really couldn't care less about what happened to the capital. But so instead they put it like in this middle part of the country. Or here. Wait. Okay, we'll put it there. It's a pretty good spot. It's just not their old capital. But the red team will have its capital in its original spot. So yeah, we talked about how the Farmers Union gained land. Oh, the old empire. They gained a little bit more southern Russian land. That's what changed down here. And along with that, in the east, the Orange Afghani country is no longer with us, as the capital of the Orange Afghani country and the other city that it belonged to went to the old empire. India gobbled up the rest of this land. Then they also gained some pockets around this southern brown country and then this Caspian country. But then we have the classic imperialism that the British is doing. So right here, this is Siberia. They are what they did to Siberia is they leased it. Like, no, they annexed it. They straight up annexed it from Russia, and Russia is only in this part of Europe. If we look in comparison, this is what the Russians have not, like, in this map. As you can see, Russia is way smaller than it usually would be. So yeah, Siberia's under British control, and now we go over here to China, where these two don't get any penalties. None, actually. But China over here, they get the brunt of it all, as they lose South China's ally, South China as an ally, and they also lose a little bit of land over here and Taiwan. The Philippines go over to the British, and northern parts of Manchuria head over to the Koreans. Although the Koreans got way less of Manchuria than they did. Yeah, this part is usually under. This part was under Manchurian control. If we look at the provinces, this is what they annexed in this timeline, but they didn't get as much of that as they did. They still got it, but not as much of it. That's just because Korea, didn't really even join into the war like Vietnam did. They just advocated for Korea to get some land, because China needs to be punished a little bit more. And so that's what happened. There's nothing else to it. It's just what happened. But, yeah, that's China. And I think we've gotten through everything. Oh wait, yeah, one more thing. The cross and circle alliances are forced to disband. So the cross team no longer exists, nor the circle team. The square team are the victors, they remain. And the African Union remains and all the other allies that they added, including the British, actually. But the cross and circle teams, they were forced to disband, as Russia, who lost Siberia, pretty much gains a new government, a British-sponsored one. The circle team gang do not get any new governments. So, yeah. And Central Asia remains with the same government. The Central Asian countries, yeah, they remain the same. But the countries that no longer exist is Texas, the Orange Afghanis, and South China. And West Africa too. All the other countries from each alliance still exist. So yeah, with that being said, that ends this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in part 2. Peace out.